Good morning. Welcome to the February 20th, 2026 meeting of the Montgomery County House Delegation. On our agenda today, we have two guest presentations, and then we'll be taking up some business related to two late filed local or bi-county bills. And this morning, we're very pleased to start with Congressman Glenn Ivey, who represents the 4th District in Maryland in the U.S. House of Representatives. Congressman Ivey, thank you so much for making some time to chat with us this morning.
Thanks for having me come in. I appreciate the chance to chat with you all, and especially these are crazy times. It's been a crazy week, like every week has been since January 20th last year. But we're keeping on fighting and working together. And I wanted to thank you all for the legislation you got passed. The was it 287G? I think it was that got done on an emergency basis. I thought that was very helpful, and just happened to coincide with us hearing that ICE is planning on opening or expanding a facility in Hyattsville that sounds like it could turn into a detention center. So, we mobilized everything. You may have seen Jolene and I put a rally together working with CASA, the county executive, Aisha Brayboy joined us, and other elected officials in Prince George's County. We came out and marched on the area where that's happening. We're trying to continue to put pressure on the landlord and the owner of the plaza over there. We'll keep working on that today, but I think it's critical for us to make sure that we don't have a situation that grows into something that looks like Minneapolis. I had a chance to go out there about a month ago now, and a horrific situation. Thank goodness the pressure and the pushback from the community forced the Trump administration to sort of stand down and start taking people out of there, although they still have ways to go before they really get back to normal out there. But we wanted to try and raise that immediately here and push hard for that. And that connects up with the partial government shutdown. As you know, the Homeland Security Appropriations Bill is, hanging in the balance right now. We're fighting about ICE, and a lot of those fights revolve around sort of basic things like pressuring ICE agents to get judicial warrants before they go into someone's house. We think that's required by the Constitution anyway. Not sure why they're fighting. Well, actually, I do know why they're fighting it so hard. They're going into these houses without having probable cause. They wouldn't be able to get a judicial warrant, so that's why they want to keep going with administrative warrants. But this is part of what I think we need to do to rein them in. Kristi Noem agreed to body cameras, but they had agreeing to it and doing it are two different things, and they've got the funding to do it. They need to hurry up and get it going, because as you've seen, the video's been critical in not just hopefully we'll be able to hold these guys accountable for what they've done, but from a public standpoint, I think it's really had an impact when they get to see the videos, especially the killings of Ms. Good and especially Mr. Preddy. I thought really were pivotal moments. It's tragic that, these deaths had to be what, turned the Trump administration around, but that's part of, unfortunately the way that, the United States works in our process. But I think we're making sure we do everything we can to build on the public sentiment right now. And I also did a letter. I had 58 other members in the House join me, pressuring the Trump administration to turn over the evidence in those cases and others to the state investigators and prosecutors. Keith Ellison, as you may know, prosecuted Derek Chauvin, so he knows how to do it and can do it well. And the other great part about that is the stalling would end, the circling the wagons would end, but most importantly, if they get convictions, there's no pardon that gets them out of a state conviction. So those are two of the things we're doing on the ICE front. Maybe I should stop there. We got a lot going on. Healthcare is a big one. We did a healthcare roundtable with some of the, leaders of hospitals here in Prince George's County, and also with people who are consumers and in the community, talking about the impact of the increase on the premiums now that the ACA tax credits haven't been extended. And even though the phase-in of the Medicaid cuts, $1 trillion in Medicaid cuts roughly, haven't supposedly been phased in yet, they're already having an impact. Some of the smaller hospitals, not so much in this area. And, as you all know, Maryland has a different kind of healthcare system um, than the other 49 states. But, I think there's a national impact that's going to carry the day in some. Thank you. That I choked on the coffee, so maybe the water will do better. So thank you, though. But we want to make sure that we do everything we can to not let healthcare and affordability fall off the radar screen, because I think those are two critical things that we need to continue to push. So let me pause there, drink a glass of water a little bit. But if you guys have questions, comments, concerns, complaints, I'm open and ready to hear from you.
Thank you so much, Congressman. And colleagues, yes, if you'll please use the virtual raise hand function. We'll start with Delegate Foley.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Congressman Ivey, for being here today and for everything you're doing. I certainly have no complaints about your work.
Thank you.
I have a lot of complaints. But I did want to ask you about a different topic, and that is the Potomac sewer intercept rupture. And I know that our congressional delegation, or at least some members of our congressional delegation, did send a letter led by Senator Van Hollen, to the EPA. But I just wondered if you could outline for us. I mean, the political, back and forth is very distracting.
Yeah.
But if you have any information about, what are we doing going forward, and importantly for Maryland, how, what are your expectations of the EPA and the federal government to make sure that this is mitigated, not just at the site, but, further downstream as we get more into, the state of Maryland being affected by this?
Yeah, great question. I think, DC Water has a lot of explaining to do in some ways, at least with respect to trying to contain the damage. Obviously, we've got a major issue with respect to the failure to keep our infrastructure up to date. And that's a large question that we're going to have to think through after we get through this crisis. But, with respect to the moment, I think the three jurisdictions, DC, Maryland, Virginia, need to really come together and get fully coordinated. I think the DC and Maryland had some steps that were taken, not that they undermined each other or anything along those lines, but I think now that DC's taken a step and Maryland has as well, I think that's helpful. EPA and the federal government, FEMA, can be helpful on this as well. Really need to step up as well. This is going to be an extremely expensive project to not only fix the burst pipe, but to address the damage that's been caused by this spill. And I'm not sure how long that'll take. I think it's going to take quite a while. And I think because the cold weather is masking some of the symptoms of what's happened, that might actually have a bit more of an impact, as the temperatures warm up. But I think we also have to make sure that we have, I think, constant testing of the water quality. We were told by DC Water that this isn't going to impact drinking water quality because the spill it's further downstream from where the water is drawn out for drinking water. And I hope that's true. I don't have any reason to believe that's not true, but I still think, trust but verify on this. We need to make sure we're testing that water every day. And it seems to me in multiple places as the project goes forward for the cleanup, which is going to be massive and take, I think, millions of dollars and maybe even get to the billions. I don't know. But it's going to take a long time and a lot of money to get it done. But we've got to make sure it gets done the right way.
Yeah, and thank you. And we'll stay on it from a state level, but we would also appreciate your help at the federal level to make sure that this continues to get the attention it deserves, as you correctly point out. Thank you, Congressman.
Oh, actually, to the point there, the appropriations process is going to be an opportunity for us to step up and try and address this too, because a big piece of this is going to be making sure that the money gets there. I don't have to tell you all that the Trump administration has been erratic, shall we say, on how it's managed some of these major crises, including what we had with respect to Western Maryland. But I think we've got Chris Van Hollen on the Senate Appropriations Committee. Steny and I are both on the House one, and I think that's a good opportunity to push it through. There's been decent bipartisanship. It sort of grew over the year. Um, I'm not saying it's perfect by any stretch, or there's you know some kumbaya moment on the appropriations committee. But I think there is a recognition that, sort of a there but for the grace of God go I. And so a lot of the Republicans have been willing. Key Bridge is partly an example of that, willing to step up and help on these fronts because they know it could happen to them too.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Foley. Next is Delegate Fraser Hidalgo.
Thank you, and thank you, Congressman, for being here. I wanted to circle back a little bit on ICE and Border Patrol. And so, as far as this administration is concerned, I don't trust anything. So there's no trust in Verify. There's just no trust at all. So I wanted to circle back to the part that you talked about as far as the cameras are concerned. That's great that they've agreed to use cameras, but do you all have a plan? And I'm hoping you do, to deal with actually having the data that comes off of those body cams, that data not being adjusted, manipulated, changed, hidden, or stopped from being open to the public. Because my big fear, of course, is that they will have plenty of data that shows horrible atrocities, and they will just delete the data, they will hide the data, they will edit the data, and we won't see the light of the data. So is there anything that you all are doing, or what is your plan to ensure we all get access to the raw, unfiltered data?
Yeah, great question. And we've got multiple problems on making that happen. The first is the Inspector General at Homeland Security is terrible. In fact, I was trying to press him to resign back during the Biden administration, and Trump carried him over because he's ineffective. So I think that's one big problem. One of the things I think is helpful on this front, though, is as we found when I was prosecuting local cases here in Prince George's County, local police cases, the video cameras on the street have been very powerful and telling, and are a very strong way to either confirm or deny what Homeland Security is saying and doing. So if we find scenarios, and we don't know exactly how it's going to play out yet because they haven't put the cameras on these guys, and they didn't have a lot of it available yet for us to see with respect to Minnesota. But if there's stuff that's not there, and we find it, then we have to try and prosecute that. That's obstruction of justice and destruction of evidence. And those are federal crimes that the statute of limitations will carry over. My view on this stuff is that regular government oversight is not sufficient. Somebody has to go to jail before these guys take it seriously. And we found that to be the case when we were prosecuting cops here in Prince George's. We've seen that across the country. But the fear of actually going before a grand jury and facing indictment is what helps to turn the ship around. The other big piece, and we don't have control over this, is the leadership piece. Usually when you have police departments that have these kinds of problems, you need new leadership at the top, and mid-level management has to turn over as well. We've been pushing to get rid of Noam, as you know, but I don't know that Trump's going to do it. And even if he removes her, I think it's unlikely he's going to bring in somebody that we're going to like. So, Holman came in to replace Bovino, which is bad to worse in some ways. So I think the really blunt answer is we won't know for sure until we take back control of the White House and get control over the Homeland Security Committee. We can do oversight next year. If we get the House back, we can use subpoenas in that way. And then the other piece in the short term is to the extent they have to turn over evidence in these state level cases, which is what I'm hoping will move forward. That's a quick way to find out whether they're hiding evidence, destroying evidence for sure, or whether they're even altering evidence, which I think would be harder to do. These machines are these programs are designed to prevent that so that they can be admissible in court. But, with this crowd, you can't assume anything. So I think it has to be verified as we move forward, hopefully with cases going forward in the very near future. I think the Preddy case is the one that really needs to go first and has the strongest evidence of. I think you're looking at potentially second-degree murder in that case, especially for the second shooter, and that's what we need to move forward soon.
Yeah, I mean, you see it in their culture. It's
Yeah.
the culture, the dehumanization culture, which is just so disturbing because it's just so right out of Hitler's playbook, to be quite frank. It's the beginning stages of the brown shirts, kind of a push, dehumanizing people, and that's just how it starts, right? And then it just kind of escalates from there to the point where you see ICE agents and border agents clapping as a result of the murder of another human being, actually standing there clapping. It's amazing.
Yeah, to that point, I mean, that's why we're fighting so hard about the mask issue,
Yeah.
because part of that, I think it was Stanford did a study. This, I was in college when we looked. It's like 50 years ago, but to the extent people can hide their identity, they get bolder and frankly more violent in the way they behave. And so even before the Preddy, if you look at that video before he was shot, if you back it up, what triggered all of that was an ICE agent or border patrol guy
Yeah.
walking up and just shoving a woman to the ground, who was apparently just standing there with a camera. Preddy was there with his cell phone in his hand, I guess, recording it, but they pepper sprayed him and then pushed him down, and then it just went from there. So you're absolutely right. Sort of the dehumanization of the way they're handling people. And don't get me started on the detention facilities. I mean, it's, really the animal shelters in some ways are better than what they're using to detain people. So we know for sure that you're exactly right. They're not viewing these people as people. They're viewing as something less than, and they're not being held accountable. There's no pressure from the top, from a supervisory standpoint, or externally from a legal standpoint, at least not that they've felt yet. But that's what we've got to change. We got to bring that pressure to bear.
Yeah, it's that concept of protect and serve. They don't ascribe to that. That's not in their DNA anymore. That's been pushed out in their culture, and you see it all over. You don't pepper spray somebody from behind that's trying to help somebody that you just assaulted and battered. Like, I mean, it's all right. Thank you.
Exactly. I think that's right. And thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Fisher Hidalgo. Next is Delegate Lopez.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Congressman, for being here this morning, for all the work you're doing in Washington. I have a question that's related to Delegate Frazier Hidalgo. So I know there's attempts to rein in ICE, and that has to happen at the federal level, of course, but ICE can't really exist without this whole ecosystem that supports what it's doing. And there's people that we're seeing who are, developing kind of like cottage industries to exploit what's happening, and like particularly the detention centers, right? There's businesses who are making money off this. Is there any conversations with your Democratic colleagues or like-minded folks across the aisle about how to go over, how to address like what's happening holistically, or all of those conversations focused on ICE enforcement right now?
Okay, I lost you for a second there. Can you repeat the last part of what you just said?
Oh, sure. Are there conversations with your Democratic colleagues or perhaps people across the aisle about addressing immigration enforcement more holistically, or is the conversation really focused on going after the federal agents and agency?
Well, no, there's both there. The corruption piece, I think, is what you're putting your finger on, and you're absolutely right. So there has been demands for information. For example, the Alligator Alcatraz place in Florida, apparently they spent, hundreds of millions of dollars to slap it up. And, I haven't been there, but I've just seen photos of it. And it's chain link fence and tenting and tent kind of stuff. But they're charging, millions and millions of dollars to put it up and to run it. It looks like it's a corrupt arrangement. Most of these people getting the contracts to put these up are either friends of Trump. In the case of Florida, they were friends of DeSantis down there, the governor. And it's payoffs for their buddies. So yes, we're demanding the information. The challenge has been we don't have subpoena power because we're not in the majority. So we're sending letters to the government, the Trump administration, to get the information. The other way to try and go about that is there's been civil litigation about this in some of the states, and Florida is one of those, where you can try and get the information through the civil discovery process. That can take a while, but I think getting the information out there is important. And I think it feeds into, to your point, the ICE overall problems with what ICE is doing and how they're going about it. But I think it also feeds into the entire corruption piece with respect to the Trump administration. I mean, I think, the $400 million jet, the payoffs in crypto, the multi-million-dollar payoffs, and I think there was a billion-dollar payoff in crypto stuff to one of the Trump family crypto investments. I was like World Financing or something like that. I forget the name of it, but I mean, this is all over the place. And I'll give you another quick one. The SEC dropped a civil fraud investigation for a guy named, I think his name is Justin Sun, if I recall correctly. He gave millions of dollars to Trump right after the election. At the inaugural, he was one of the guys that got to stand in the Capitol. And then, if you recall that time when Trump sold a dinner, they auctioned off a dinner with Trump. He won that as well, won it, so-called. So multi-million-dollar payoffs, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. I think we have to try and find ways to pursue those across the board. There's a group called Democracy Forward that's doing outstanding litigation. They've got, I think, about 300 cases going against the administration right now, and they're winning a fair number of them. But that's going to be one of the paths we have to take until we get the House back, and then we can use subpoena power to get that information on our own.
Thank you. And to be upfront, one of the reasons why I'm asking is I'm working on similar legislation at the state level. So if there's any resources your office might have to help inform our work, I'd be glad to take them. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, the letter that Angela, Chris, and I sent, what was that, Wednesday, I think it was, to the ICE people here in Hyattsville on the money for that, I think is same kind of thing. We demanded a response by next Friday, the 27th. I doubt that we'll get it, but absolutely, we definitely support that, and I think it's a critical piece to go after. I commend you for that.
Thank you, Delegate Lopez. I think that exhausts our questions from the delegation. Congressman, thank you so much for making time and for all of the important work that you're doing. It's always great to hear from you. We so appreciate that you join the delegation each year. Thank you.
Thank you, and I appreciate you all having me, and keep up the great work.
Thank you. Okay, colleagues, next we'll turn to our next set of guest speakers. We have some folks joining us from Montgomery College to give us an update, and I will turn it over to their team for whoever would like to start on their end. And I know we do have some folks logged in from Montgomery Colleges. Amy, maybe I'll just check with you. Is everyone that you're expecting for your briefing on the call today, or should we take up another item of business if we're waiting on anyone?
Give me 1 second. Let me just make sure we've got everyone. I'm not sure we're all here yet.
And that's not a problem because we actually do have one other item of business that's pretty short. So why don't we do that, and then we'll circle back to Montgomery College. I see that we have Marcus Jackson here with the Prince George's County government. Colleagues, we do have a bill that is on the agenda for voting to accept as a late filed bill. I will just say before I turn it over to Mr. Jackson to explain what the bill is, this is an issue of where the bill had come in. I think it was either as a local bill for Prince George's or perhaps a statewide bill, and DLS more recently flagged that this actually should be a bi-county bill. So that is the reason that it is appearing late before our delegation. But Mr. Jackson, if you would like to just briefly explain what the bill is, please. And actually, we can't hear you. You're unmuted, but there's no sound coming through. Still nothing. No.
Well, hello, this is Amber Hendricks. I'm also representing Prince George's
Okay, go
County.
ahead, Ms. Hendricks. Yes.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Hi, so the bill before you is an amendment to existing state law that would authorize the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning to enter into an agreement with Prince George's County to participate in the tax increment financing with the county in an extraordinary development district. And the purpose of the legislation is only to do that, as well as amending the definition of an extraordinary development district to include an immersive entertainment venue and to expand the eligible uses of a tax increment financing bond proceeds to include the acquisition, construction, and rehabilitation of an immersive entertainment venue within an extraordinary development district, and as well as codifying the definition definition of an immersive entertainment venue, which would be a venue that's privately owned, contains at least 3,000 seats, and has an aggregate development cost of at least $500 million and has an immersive experience with an advanced display technology. And this is all related to the announcement that was made in early January related to the Sphere that is coming to the state of Maryland and more specifically Prince George's County at the National Harbor. And the state and the county have put in a various incentives to recruit that awesome opportunity to come to the county. And this is one piece of legislation that we have submitted in order to authorize one of the incentives that are part of that package that requires approval.
Thank you, Ms. Hendricks. And just as a reminder, colleagues, so today is the vote on whether or not we'll accept the bill as late filed. And then should that motion pass, we will have a full hearing on the bill, likely at our meeting next week.
Move to accept the late file bill.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so moved by Delegate Moon, seconded by Delegate Foley. Is there any discussion or questions on the motion to accept the bill as late
I
filed?
want to say, Madam Chair, I don't know if my camera's working, but I'm here.
Okay, thank you, Delegate Kaufman. And that is actually a good reminder for others. If you could please come on camera for voting. Actually, I need to make sure we have quorum in terms of folks on camera. Okay, we're good. Okay, all those in favor of the motion to accept the bill as late filed, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, that is unanimous. And Delegate Kaufman, just confirming we got you as an oral vote in that instance. Okay, so the bill has been accepted as late filed. We'll get the bill hearing scheduled and we will circle back with Ms. Hendricks and Mr. Jackson in terms of the logistics for that. So thank you. And now, Amy, I'm going to circle back with you as your team here for your briefing. Yes. Okay. I see Dr.
Yes,
Williams.
thank you.
Yes, I'm here. Hi, Chair Plakovich-Carr. Hello, delegates. How are you?
Very good. All right. Well, we're looking forward to getting an update from Montgomery College. Please go ahead.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, delegates. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. Thank you, as always, for your leadership. I'm grateful to work with leaders like you who care so deeply about equity and inclusion and opportunity, and who also understand the power of education to transform lives. I am going to, all right, great. The slides are up. Fantastic. That way I'm not pinned the entire time. Thank you, Amy. If we can go to the second slide. We know that our mission here at Montgomery College, we are in the business of unlocking potential to transform lives and to deliver the homegrown talent that Maryland needs to thrive. Next slide. And so you know where we are. We are everywhere throughout the county. Today we are serving more than 46,000 students. Last year, as you see, we served 46,341 students. That's an increase of 16% from FY22 to FY25. International student enrollment is also up. We are very excited about the growth and access to education that we see at Montgomery College. Next slide. And again, as I shared, we're throughout the county, right? Whether, Tacoma Park, Silver Spring. Fun fact, September 16th of this year, we will turn 80, and we are as energetic as ever. 1946, starting off at Bethesda Chevy Chase at night, but from Tacoma Park, Silver Spring to Rockville to Germantown to now East County Education Center that houses our new LPN program, building on the success of our CNA and RN programs. We are everywhere in the county where our communities need us. Next slide. And as we think about today's students, we're thinking about displaced federal workers. We're thinking about immigrants, parents, veterans, recent high school graduates, residents seeking to upskill. These are the individuals who we serve and the residents who we seek to serve, and they're turning to their community's college to unlock their potential. And we're ready to help them. we stand ready to help them succeed in our auto bays, our biotech labs, our simulated hospital rooms, and on stage. Next slide. No, and they succeed, right? They succeed in so many different ways, becoming the homegrown talent our community needs, as Jim Muir knows from his own experience and his leadership in the county. So 87% delegates of alumni stay in the county. They stay here, they work here, and raise their families here, right? Contributing to the college's overall economic impact of $1.4 billion a year. Yes, your community's college has an economic impact of $1.4 billion a year. Next slide. So if we take a look at some of the alumni, the contributions of our alumni it's so expansive, from a lead carpenter, who you'll hear from later today at Imagination Stage. Actually, Topher Gott is here with us, who got his start at Scene Shop and Theater Arts Building on Rockville campus. I do believe Topher is with us. To Harrison Carvalho, who first connected with technology in a library at MC, and now runs his own IT company. Next slide. Thank you, Amy. Tomorrow's alumni are on the precipice of their journey and getting started even sooner. Thanks to MC's dual enrollment programs, more than 3,000 high school students can take a college class or two, or even earn a college degree while still in high school. And I should say, let me restate that we are currently enrolling more than 3,000 high school students with capacity to serve many more. In May, we expect about 350 dually enrolled students to cross the stage at MC's commencement and receive their AA degree before they receive their high school diploma. And I know I am, those of you I got a chance to know me. I'm excited. I talk fast at times, so I'll slow down and repeat that. 350 students are scheduled to receive their Montgomery College credential a few weeks before they actually receive their high school diploma. So we talk about impact, and that's just amazing. So programs like these are invaluable in times that we're in, when affordability concerns are widespread across our community. Dual enrollment accelerates academic momentum, saves time and money, and allows graduates to leap up the opportunity ladder, right, ready to succeed in in-demand careers. In fact, we have one of our many alumni, Alim Saida Kojeliev, is the youngest graduate of the University of Maryland's Cyber Physical Systems Engineering program. Graduating at age 19. And he was able to do that because Alim began at Montgomery College while attending Northwest High School and completed his associate's degree in 2023. Right? He then transferred to University of Maryland as a junior. Today, he serves as a research engineer at Euclid Tech Labs, contributing to projects with the U.S. Department of Energy and NASA. Next slide. So results like these are possible because of the investments that you make in Montgomery College, the investments that you have made, the investments that you continue to make, and we need your continued support. The governor's budget includes $2.1 million in new funds for Montgomery College. Please protect those dollars. With these funds, we can protect affordability. Tuition and fees are half of those of the University of Maryland College Park. Additionally, help us ensure, please, that we can provide compensation for our employees. They do deserve to be treated in an equitable and fair way. And, their contributions to extraordinary outcomes like Alim's is just one example of the many students who they help. With these funds, we can meet the needs of both our students and our faculty and staff. Next slide, please. Our faculty and staff also, they need facilities that meet academic and industry standards to best prepare the talent our county and state demand, right? Given our steadfast support, the community college students deserve high quality, modern classrooms and labs. And we appreciate your steadfast support and knowing that this year, please protect the funds in the governor's budget for a modern library on the Rockville campus. I'm also here to ask for your help to deliver a modern theater arts building. Right, you see it right there. This is an amazing academic building. Share that again. This is an amazing academic building. Theater arts is where students learn to perform on stage and to manage behind the scenes operations. The theater arts program is a workforce generator. Alumni work in the nationally ranked DMV theater sector as scene builders, lighting and sound technicians, as well as actors and directors. This building houses classrooms, labs, and an assembly space where students attend classes and later practice, right? Building sets or rehearsing, right? They hone their skills to fill the 28,000 jobs in the DMV's arts and entertainment sector, right? To be ready to succeed in this industry, our students need a modern facility, not one burdened by pests, water leaks, or a warped stage, right? The theater arts building was built when Lyndon Johnson was president, to put the kind of in perspective here, right? It was last renovated 30 years ago. So it is long past time to deliver a modern facility that meets the needs of our students, our faculty, and the DMV's theater sector. And it really is a matter of both equity and economic development. So we're asking that you please add $4.2 million to the capital budget to get this project started. We have our matching dollars ready to go. And we have awesome faculty like Shaquille Stewart, who has worked across the DMV and is now with Baltimore Cultural Alliance, who credits his success to Montgomery College. Similarly, the CEO of BlackRock, Montgomery College alumni. So as we transition and we get ready to hear one of our awesome alumni talk for a few moments, I will say for the next slide, as I shared, for almost 80 years, right? September 16th of this year, Montgomery College has been the anchor institution that our community relies on. With your support, the college has continued to meet the moment, even in these turbulent times. Our board, faculty, staff, students, they remain unwavering in our commitment to equity, inclusion, affordability, and excellence. And I know, all of you know that an investment in Montgomery College puts students on a path to economic mobility and changes the trajectory of countless lives. The college delivers measurable returns, right? For every dollar invested, students gain $4.70 in lifetime earnings, and the taxpayers receive $1.20 in added revenue in public savings, right? This is a truly an excellent return on your investment. So I just want to take another moment to thank you again for your time. We know that we can count on you. I would now just like to introduce Topher Gott, an MC alumnus who spent many hours in theater arts, honing his skills, and is now the lead carpenter for Imagination Stage. I do want to thank him before he comes on. I know he was rearranging his schedule, so I'm hopeful that we still have him. And if not, we can go straight to comments or questions, Chair. But Topher, are you with us? Were you able to make it?
Hey there.
Topher, all right. Would you please share a little bit?
Certainly. Good morning, members of the Montgomery Delegation. My name is Topher Gott. I am a lifelong resident of Montgomery County, currently living in Gaithersburg. And I am also a Montgomery College Performing Arts alumnus and currently working as the lead carpenter for Imagination Stage. Let's see. I guess I've been living here in Montgomery County my whole life, graduated from Poolsville High, where I was in the Midnight Players Drama Club. And someone from the drama club actually recommended Montgomery College's summer dinner theater program to me, which is how I ended up deciding to pursue a career in theater and attend Montgomery College. Now, Montgomery College's performing arts program was instrumental in preparing me for my career. The professors there are very knowledgeable, and most of them are active members of the local theater community. They were absolutely invaluable in getting my now 9-year theater career started. They gave me leads on where to save jobs, serve as references for me, and not just like they gave me access to where most theaters post their job listings. They told me about the theater technician cattle call, and a couple of times they would straight up say, email this person and tell them I sent you. They'll have work for you. let's see. I've been working for, since then, I've been working for theater companies all over DC, from little strip mall black boxes all the way to the Shakespeare Theater Company at the Harmon Center. And now I'm employed here at Imagination Stage, which is very much a beloved institution here in Montgomery County. I remember going to see shows at Imagination Stage when I was a kid. So it's very special to get to work for them now. And yeah, pretty much a lot of what I learned that got me this job here, I learned at Montgomery College. Montgomery College is also known and respected by the local theater community, where a lot of Montgomery College graduates work. I remember recently a beloved faculty member passed away, the late great Dennis Mulligan, and the turnout for his service was absolutely astounding, with theater industry folks from all over the DMV area present and sharing how he and Montgomery College affected their career. You don't really understand the scope of how much Montgomery College has influenced the theater space in this area until you see everyone it has come flooding into one room. And I can tell you, it was very impressive. So the students there have access to incredible faculty and opportunities, and now they need a modern theater arts building. The old building needs to be updated so students are prepared to work in modern theaters. They need an electrical system that can handle the modern lighting and sound systems, and they need more usable space for rehearsals and classes. And they need, I can personally attest to this, a safe and correctly sized scene shop. Right now, the scene shop they have is pretty small compared to what they'll be working at in other theater companies, and also for the scale of productions we do. It often means that there's a lot of people either needing to work on stage, which can collide with rehearsals or with events being held in that space. And also there are issues like, say, the shop not having very good ventilation, which can be very important because we're doing things like working with power tools, generating a lot of sawdust, or spray painting, or the big one. I and a lot of other students have learned welding in that shop, which is an absolutely invaluable skill. Once I'm done here, I'm going to pop into the shop and start suiting up to do some this morning. But adequate ventilation is actually very important for welding. And you can give the person welding a respirator, but that shop is also a very high traffic area. So we need to be able to keep that space well ventilated for everyone who's going to be coming through there. And also, it's important to include that just to create that sort of expectation of safety and how people learn what is and isn't safe in a shop environment. So that they're not, basically they need to be, to help give them an understanding of what they should expect in a proper safe shop. A modern facility combined with the faculty and productions, including summer dinner theater, will give Montgomery County students a great start to their future careers in the theater workforce. They will join the many Montgomery College alumni who already work in this field like me. Thank you so much for supporting Montgomery College. Please support the renovation to the theater arts building. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Topher. Thank you, Chair Plakovich-Carr. Thank you to the entire delegation. Topher, you shared your experience, which is so impactful, and just one of many examples and reasons why I'm here and we're here asking you to protect Cade, asking you to add that $4.2 million in the capital budget for theater arts. So Topher, I know you're if you hang on as long as you can. Some of our delegates might have questions for you or comments, but I know whenever you have to leave, please do. I know you are working. So Chair Plakovich-Carr, thank you again for listening. Thank you again for all of your support. If there are any questions or comments.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Williams. Thank you, Topher, for being here and sharing your personal story. I, personally very much appreciate hearing what happens after folks graduate from MC and the great professional lives that they go on to have here in Montgomery College. So we do have some questions. We'll start with Delegate Kaufman.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. This is a question for Dr. Williams. Dr. Williams, has there been a decline in enrollment or attendance, daily attendance in classes because of fears of ICE enforcement, or have people confided in you or your leadership team? Oh, I'm anxious about going to class in case there's an ICE raid on campus. I'm just wondering because Montgomery College is beautifully diverse. So I just wanted to see if there had been a drop in attendance due to ICE related fears.
Thank you, Delegate Kaufman. Yes, we are so beautifully diverse. Our students represent 146 countries. Yes, and the answer is we've actually seen an increase in enrollment. We are working with our student clubs, organizations, obviously individual students, because we obviously want to support all of our students. So what you're sharing is an unfortunate, but also a very real reality that we are helping students traverse. But we are, as I said, seeing an increase in enrollment. So,
Okay, I was just wondering, not about enrollment, but about drops in daily attendance. But
no,
thank you. And I just want to say, just very briefly, if I can, Madam Chair, the best decision I ever made was to accept the offer of admission to the Montgomery Scholars Program. So I carry MC with me every day.
thank you, Delegate Kaufman. I appreciate the opportunity to clarify. I definitely wasn't trying to dodge the question. No, I have not seen or heard of any drops in daily enrollment.
Thank you. Next is Delegate Wilkins.
Good morning, everyone, and good morning, Dr. Williams. Thank you for the presentation. And it's always with great pride having MC present to us and just the amazing world-class institution that we have in Montgomery College. So truly appreciate everything that you're doing and your leadership. I wanted to ask about the same topic that I ask about pretty much every single time that MC is in front of us. And that is about the connection between the very robust internship program here in the Maryland General Assembly. As you know, it's a paid internship. It's a really great opportunity, especially for a student that is at community college to get that hands-on experience with the legislature during our internship program. And I wanted to check in on if you have a sense of how many interns we have from Montgomery College this legislative session, but more importantly, any efforts and updates around increasing access for our community college students to know about our internship program and also to have transportation to be able to be with us in Annapolis. I wanted to see the progress that is being made on that, and to mention that my current chief of staff was an intern just a couple of years ago. So it is a really important trajectory, and wanted to check in on current status and updates around the internship program. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Wilkins. Always a pleasure to be with you. And yes, the intern program is something that we continue to support in new and different ways. I do recall, the very first time that you've had that question, and so something that's consistently been on my radar and our radar. We know numerous students who they do work in Annapolis via the intern program. I would have to get the exact number for you. I don't have that right now in front of me. Transportation right now does remain I think a piece where there's still conversation to be had in terms of what that looks like with what the program offers. If the program's offering transportation and the program's looking to move towards that, I think that would be very enticing for students at Montgomery College, 2/3 of whom are part-time, 50% of whom are first generation, majority of whom are working, 80% who have experienced some impact from basic needs security, whether that is psychological, physical. So I think if there's a movement towards the program providing transportation, that would be really great for our students.
Wonderful. Yes, we have touched base in the past around MC helping to provide some of that access with transportation, but I can follow up offline. Madam Chair, if I may, a quick other question. Dr. Williams, on a different topic, I was wondering if there's anything you're able to share publicly, just because I really have not kept up with it, around conversations with a East County expansion around the East County campus and those topics. If there's anything more that you're able to share about that, that would be great.
Yes, thank you, Delegate Wilkins. So we are starting off East County Education Center is thriving. Thank you, everybody. I know Delegate Wilkins, you were at the ribbon cutting, and I know others as well. So April 1st will be 2 years old. 55,000 standalone square foot facilities. I shared that has launched our LPN program, which is a pathway. And yes, we are simultaneously moving towards the fourth campus. And very excited about it. We continue to engage the community. This is a silent phase because, and I appreciate your understanding about what can be shared. We have to share some sites with the state. As you know, there's a state process, and that stays kind of a silent phase for obvious reasons in regards to land valuation and things like that. So our goal is to have that completed by the end of the spring and have something in front of our board by the end of the spring. That is the goal right now, but it's still very much I don't want to I don't want to minimize it. It is a force multiplier. I think is that we are still pursuing very energetically and with extreme enthusiasm, and look towards equitably supporting our residents in the eastern part of our county.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Let us know if we can do anything to help this legislative session around that.
Thank you, Delegate Wilkins.
Last call for questions from colleagues. I don't see any other raised hands at the moment. So we'll just thank you again, Dr. Williams, Topher, your whole team for being here, for the information today, and for all that you do for our community. Very much appreciated.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, colleagues, our last agenda item for today is a bill hearing for a late filed bill. This is MC 19-26, Department of Housing and Community Development, Montgomery County Study, sponsored by Delegate Spiegel. Delegate Spiegel, I will recognize you for your testimony.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I appreciate you stepping in to chair what is technically a hearing of the Land Use, Transportation, and Public Safety Committee, but since this bill is being offered by me, I am stepping away from the committee chairmanship for this hearing. So for the record, Delegate Ryan Spiegel in support of MC 1926. As I said at our meeting last week, this bill is really a direct response to the recent presentations that our House delegation received over the last few weeks at our Friday meetings from the Montgomery County Planning Commission, the Planning Department, and as well as our Q&A with the county executive when he presented as well on issues of housing. As you will recall, the Planning Department said they would welcome additional analytical support from state agencies to better understand and address the challenges to housing supply and affordability in Montgomery County. And I want to thank the delegation for voting to allow this late filed bill to proceed under these circumstances. The bill itself is pretty straightforward. It calls for a report by DHCD on those issues of housing supply and affordability to be provided to the delegation members and also to county officials. It calls for 3 annual reports to be issued, the first one in November of this year, and then 2 subsequent annual reports in November of 2027 and November of 2028. And in my discussions with DHCD about this bill, the agency has indicated they can prepare this report with existing resources. So I expect the fiscal note on this to be 0. And I believe Jason Sartori, the director of Montgomery Planning, is also here to provide testimony as part of my panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Spiegel. Mr. Sartori, you are recognized for 3 minutes.
Great. Thank you very much, Chair Palaka-Fichkar and members of the county delegation. Good morning. For the record, my name is Jason Sartori, and I'm the director of the Montgomery County Planning Department, part of the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission. And first, and I know I'm preaching to the choir, but I just wanted to express how fortunate we are in Montgomery County to have leaders like Dr. Williams at MC and Dr. Kadamian at the universities at Shady Grove, ensuring that our community has access to outstanding higher education. And they've also been great partners in our planning work. Wanted to make sure you knew that. But I digress because I'm here today to express our support for MC 1926. As you know, Montgomery County is the most populous county in the state of Maryland, yet we have a major role still to play in closing the state's housing gap. And as I highlighted in my briefing to you last month, The state has established quite aggressive housing production targets for the county over the next 5 years. However, recent trends in the county have demonstrated that production is lagging and affordability is at an all-time low in every corner of the county. In recent years, Montgomery Planning has conducted and reported on housing analyses that describe these trends and attempt to identify barriers to production. We want to thank Delegate Spiegel for introducing this bill because the proposed study will build on our department's work and on our collaborative relationship with the state's Department of Housing and Community Development to identify actionable recommendations that would help the county overcome those barriers and reach its housing goals. Just yesterday, our planning board voted unanimously to support this bill. The board did have one minor suggestion, and by no means is it critical, but it is to refer to actionable recommendations in line 12 on page 2. This would underscore the idea that we need not wait for the final report in 2028 to pursue county or state solutions that are recommended in the interim reports in 26 and 27. That implementation of those recommendations in those reports could be immediately pursued. So thank you for your time, your consideration of our comments, and for your continued shared commitment and service to our county.
Thank you very much. Members of the delegation will now open it up for questions for the bill sponsor or for Mr. Sartori, starting with Delegate Kaiser.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My question is for Delegate Spiegel in terms of what you're asking for in these reports. We oftentimes get reports back that are interesting but not actionable, and I certainly heard Mr. Sartori refer to actionable. I'm just wondering, are you being, I don't want you to be fully prescriptive, but are you talking about exactly what kind of data and breakdowns you're looking for to help us make our decisions?
Thank you for the question, Delegate Kaiser. If you look at the language of the bill, there are some line items specifically that are requested to be addressed in the reports to be provided by DHCD. For example, there's a line item on specific mix of unit types, so we can better understand, for example, how many townhouses we have in need versus how many duplexes we have in need versus how many multifamily apartment units we have in need. And there are a few other line items in the bill as well to address aspects of housing. And the bill as written currently calls not only for an analysis, but specifically calls for recommendations. I am very amenable to Mr. Sartori's suggestion that we don't just say recommendations, we say actionable recommendations to make it very clear. I'm happy to work with him on an amendment. Yeah, I believe it's more than just kind of saying in vague terms, DHCD give us a report. It does have specific things that need to be in the reports.
Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, this concludes the bill hearing for MC 19-26. This bill, as Delegate Spiegel mentioned, is assigned to the Land Use, Transportation, and Public Safety Committee, so it will go through the normal process in terms of being taken up by that local committee next. That ends our formal agenda. Let me ask if any... Oh, I'm sorry, Delegate Kaiser, did you have a follow-up question for the bill hearing?
No.
Okay, sorry. Must be some lagging audio there. Okay, let me turn to our committee chairs to see if any have announcements about upcoming meetings. Delegate Spiegel, Chair Spiegel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Land Use, Transportation, and Public Safety Committee will have what I hope will be a brief meeting at noon on Monday, and the only agenda item is to discuss and potentially vote on MC 1926.
Thank you. Chair Foley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We do not have a meeting scheduled yet, but the Economic Development Committee should be prepared to meet after the bill hearing next week on PG 425-26, which we just accepted, because we will be needing to take action on that. So that won't be next week, but the week after. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Chair Mayor North.
Can everyone hear me, colleagues? Having
Yes.
audio issues. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Can everyone hear? Okay. Thank you. I'm having audio issues here. The Metro Washington area. Okay, because
Maybe try turning your video off, Chair Mayor
it's not
North.
stable here. So hopefully hear this. The Metro Washington, that sounds great. Like,
Do you want to try that again?
can everyone hear me well? Hear me? Can I get
Yes.
confirmation? Can everyone hear me? Okay, I get confirmation now. Great. So Metro Washington Area Committee will be meeting on Monday at 1:30. And we will have two bills, one from Prince George's County, and then my bill as well. So stay tuned.
Okay, thank you. And just we're confirming that came through clearly that last time. So thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for confirming that. I've been having issues all morning. Thank you.
Of course. And I think Chair Ziegler, your committee is still on hold for the moment. Is that correct? No anticipated meetings?
We are. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay. Next, if there's any other announcements from the members of the delegation, I see Delegate Wallach is seeking to be recognized. Go ahead.
Thank you. My raise hand function is not cooperating this morning. Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to take a moment and thank you for your leadership, Chair Polakovich-Carr, Chair Wilkins, and everybody, as part of the delegation. We were able to expedite legislation to bring back Eid as a day off. So I'm just super, super grateful for the collaboration, the partnership, and super excited to, I've shared the news on social media. You've sent out a press release, but I just want to take a moment and thank everyone for their support.
Thank you, Delegate Wallach, and thank you too for all of your work on this issue. This was certainly a team effort. So, colleagues, if you have not yet seen the school board last night did restore Eid as a non-instructional day for students, but it did come at having to extend the school year. That is why our local bill that we passed at our meeting last Friday is more important than ever. I do want to give a big shout out to Chair of the Ways and Means Committee, Delegate Wilkins, for expediting the hearing for that local bill. It was heard yesterday in Ways and Means and was voted out unanimously yesterday in Ways and Means. The Senate delegation also met yesterday and unanimously passed that bill. So we are, certainly moving that along as fast as we can. If folks do need talking points or additional information, the press release that Delegate Wallach just referred to will be up on the delegation website here this morning that has some additional context about the need for the legislation and exactly what it does. I will also just mention that the Ways and Means Committee, we did have some clarifying amendments that were adopted before the bill moved through committee. I decided not to bring that back to full delegation to vote on because really the substance of what we voted on is unchanged. It really was just adding some additional clarifications, for instance, like that the district had to apply for a waiver from the state superintendent for the school days. And the district had already done that and had been denied. So, there were things that weren't substantive in terms of our situation currently for MCPS, but just wanted folks to be aware of that. Anything else for the good of the order before we adjourn today? Yes, Delegate Kaiser.
Thank you, Madam Chair. What is, given the emergency nature of the bill, what is the expected timeline, and do we expect it to get through both chambers? So all of us parents who have summer planning to do.
Yes, my family too. I believe the bill will likely be on second reader on Tuesday. I don't know if Chair Wilkins has better insight on that. I saw it's not on the floor for today. I guess we don't usually take up new bills on Fridays. And then, of course, the Senate will be, there's not a Senate crossfile as is typical with our local delegation bills. So they're going to be waiting to catch the bill once it comes over. But I'll turn it over to Chair Wilkins for additional insights on timing.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Delegate Wallach, for all the coordination on this. We're expecting on the floor on Tuesday. So we're going to report it down. It should be on the floor on Tuesday. So.
And our Senate delegation has been fully read in on, the emergency nature of this bill. The fact that it's already cleared Senate delegation will hopefully mean it'll keep moving along expeditiously in the Senate. And since it is now an emergency bill, once we get through the Senate, this could all be done potentially pretty soon. But we'll keep everyone posted. Anything else? All right, that is it for today. Thank you, colleagues. We are adjourned.